Number 4, we got just pulling and voice command. Yes, you could use voice command for all of these others, and you probably should because you want to train your horse to your voice command, so you're going to use it along with stopping them with the other methods so that they know that that voice command usually comes along with a stop. Eventually, training them that that voice command means stop. But there's a lot of flaws with the just pulling method. Pulling only works if your horse is light on the face and already knows that pulling means stop. So if you are the kind of person that does a lot of pulling in your horse's face and already know that your horse is not going to stop when you're pulling, because in reality, we're constantly pulling on the horse's face and it's kind of losing its meaning to the horse. They don't really know what it means anymore because we're constantly doing it. We pull when we want them to have collection, we pull when we want them to back up, we pull when we want them to go forward, because usually we put pressure on the reins when we know we're going to go fast. We pull when we want them to stop. We pull when we go side to side. We pull, we pull, we pull. Eventually, pulling becomes a mute cue to the horse and they're going to start ignoring it. So if your horse does not stop when you are just trotting and you want them to stop and you put pressure on their face, that's not going to stop them if they are bolting out of fear, a lot of nerves, anxiety, a lot of tension when they're bolting. So we need to train our horses to respond to pulling and stop using it so frequently. And because the horse stops responding to pulling, we revert to seesawing, which when you're using a bit, this can be very painful on the horse. Even when you're using other equipment on the horse's face, it's painful to have something sawn back and forth in your mouth or on your face. So I would not recommend seesawing ever. But the problem is when we're in a sticky situation and that's all we know how to do, that's all we're going to revert to, and it doesn't necessarily even work on the horse. What the horse needs to know is that pulling is a temporary thing that they have to respond to. They need to be able to find the answer and we have to be able to release pressure. So it's a pressure, which means we're asking a question. If the horse is not able to find the answer to that question, they're going to eventually ignore that question. So we have to remember to always give them a yes when they find the answer. So if you want to practice stopping your horse with just pulling, you want them to stop and then you release. So if we're running, we ask them to stop by pulling. If they stop, we have to release. If they're backing up when we're pulling, we have to release. If they are giving us collection when we're pulling, we have to release. Even if we continuously want that result, we have to let them know that that's the right thing by releasing that pressure. So in order to have a bolting horse respond to pulling, we have to make sure that we have that working before we get into that situation. So just work on that a ton with your horse. Even if you don't think you're ever going to be in that situation, it's good to know that your horse will stop if you ask them to stop by pulling.